And there's a reminder of it. Charles Leclerc for Van Amersfoort Racing starts on pole position. Antonio Giovinazzi for Yagonia I Am with Carlin was 0.48 of a second slower in that qualifying session. George Russell, yesterday's race winner, is third on the grid, and he was 0.054 seconds away from pole. So you had the top three in that session was separated by half a tenth of a second. Albon fourth, Lozano fifth, Dennis sixth, Stroll seventh, Meneses, Eilert and Pommer completing the top 10. There you have the rest of the runners, all capable, these, of getting in the points. Pietro Fittipaldi there, the grandson of Emerson Fittipaldi, the two-times Formula One world champion. He got himself into points yesterday with some good attacking driving, one of the Fortec drivers, Richard Dutton's team, based here in Northamptonshire. And then Felix Rosenqvist, can he do it again? Can he get into the points again? He had an incredible opening lap or two yesterday. He went from 35th to 18th in the first two laps. That really set him up nicely. There was one safety car early on. There was a bit of a pile-up at Village Corner, but that was the only one. Race one, they had a damp track. They all started on slicks, but with a wet setup as we head off onto the formation lap. And we see that's Mahavir Ranganathan starting from the pit lane for some reason, number 33, the Indian driver for Motor Park, getting to the points yesterday. And Ranganathan is another newcomer. And we've had several problems on the grid so far this weekend, several cars failing to get away, and that's another of them, I'm afraid. So number 11, Fabian Schiller, who almost got himself in the points yesterday, was ninth with one corner to go. 2 wins last year in the Formula Masters German single-seater championship. So using the full Grand Prix circuit here at Silverstone. And the first corner will be Abbey in front of the commentary box on the start-finish line. I can see, well, what you're seeing now, that car being pushed off the circuit. There have been 4 or 5 of these so far this weekend, so 1 or 2 teething problems. So that's one of the Team Westech cars, the British team's cars, being pushed off, and may be able to fire it up, and he may be able to start from the pit lane. So yesterday, race 1 won by Felix Rosenqvist. As I say, it was a damp track, a drying track. They were all on slick tyres. It was pretty hairy. There were a number of safety car incidents. But Rosenqvist won that run from Giovinazzi. Jake Dennis was third. Alex Albon was fourth in race 1 and the best of the rookies. And then in race 2 yesterday, it was George Russell taking his maiden victory. Charles Leclerc second. Antonio Giovinazzi third. And then Lance Stroll came home in 4th place. So 3 of the top 4 places were filled by rookies. Lance Stroll, as I mentioned in the build-up, is one of the drivers backed by the Ferrari Academy. He's a 2-times Canadian karting champion. Last year was his first season in cars, and he won the Italian Formula 4 Championship with Prema Power Team. And over the winter, down in New Zealand, he won the Toyota Racing Series. So he's basically had 1 year in cars, done 2 championships, and won both of them. And he was pretty impressive yesterday. So Lance Stroll going well. In terms of the points then, we've got Giovinazzi on 33, Rosenqvist second on 31. Stroll and Albon have both got 20 points, joint third. Jake Dennis is 5th on 15. And by my reckoning, you've got Pommer and Misano, who are both on 10 points, joint 6th in the championship. But there is a long way to go. There are 11 rounds, 11 events across Europe. We've got a Hockenheim next. We go and have 3 races at each event. We've got a Pau in the middle of May for the street race in France, Monza at the end of May, Spa, Norris Ring, Zandvoort, Spielberg. We go to Moscow at the end of August, the Nürburgring, then back to Hockenheim, with many of the races running on the DTM package. So there is number 10, George Russell. He is one of only 3 drivers on the grid that have won Formula 3 races. They only did that yesterday. The other 2 are Antonio Giovinazzi, who, as I mentioned, won a couple of races last year, and Felix Rosenqvist, who has now won 16 European Formula 3 races. Won the Macau Grand Prix at the end of a mixed year last year. Won the Pau Grand Prix as well. So one of the 2 big ones. But a disappointing championship with Motorsport for the Swede from Malmo. And he only finished 8th in the standings last year. Not at all where he wanted to be, having finished runner-up in 2013 behind Marcello, and 3rd in 2012. So a previous Masters Formula 3 champion in 2011. Another big event that he won. The year before that, it was won by a certain Valtteri Bottas. Keep an eye on Pietro Fittipaldi as well, from 15th on the grid. Good chance of getting on the podium at the circuit where his granddad Emerson won his final Grand Prix. World champion with Lotus and McLaren, 2-time Indy 500 winner as well. And Let's see how his grandson gets on here. So the green flag is waved at the back of the grid. We are about to get race 3 of the weekend underway here. Charles Leclerc to the right of the picture is on pole position. To the left we got Antonio Giovinazzi. The revs build, the tension rises. Weekend underway here. It doesn't look like a great start from Giovinazzi. Leclerc is going to get alongside and in front. So it's so close between these two. Yesterday there was contact between those two and Russell. They're all wheel banging into turn 1 in race 1. This time there's no contact. They all settle in, but it's Leclerc with the better start. Giovinazzi second. Russell then in third place. They'll go through Farm Curve and down into Village, and we've got one of the Giovanni IAM cars running wide there. Menezes has made a good start. He's up in the top 4 or 5, so he has gained 2 or 3 places. Made a decent start yesterday. Running a little bit wide there was 31 Hong Guai Chow, the Formula 3 champion. Somebody else runs wide on the exit to the loop through Aintree and onto this, the Wellington Straight. Turned left into Brooklands Corner, rejoining the older part of the circuit now. And Menezes in third place. He gained another one going on to the Wellington Straight. Got ahead of George Russell. George coming under attack now from Jake Dennis, who has made a mega start to the race. He's up to 5th place. Albon is 6th. Palmer's going well in 7th. And there's contact further down the order. That is number 25 going off, I'm afraid. Lance Stroll, after 2 really good races. So he sends off. That was coming on the exit to Woodcote Corner. And then we've got Jake Dennis going around the outside of yesterday's race 2 winner George Russell. That's going to put him up to 4th place. If he can hold the line on the way into the Beckett's S's, they're still wheel to wheel, but he squeezes through in the white, red and blue colours. So Jake Dennis with an excellent start. He's got the bit between his teeth here in his 2nd season of Formula 3. He's already scored more points than he did here at Silverstone last year. He didn't pick up any points. He really struggled at this circuit last year, but he came good. Finished 9th in the championship, 3rd best rookie last year. Jake now moving across to Prema Power Team from Carlin, and with a really, really good start to the race. He's got himself up to 4th position there. Menezes with a lightning start. He's 3rd, Giovinazzi 2nd. I believe Giovinazzi has kept a fresh set of tyres for this race as well. But the leader is Charles Leclerc. Are we going to have 3 different winners in 3 races? There's a lock-up there coming into Val from number 26, Ryan Tveta. The yellow car, the Ugonia IAM car. One of the Carlin run cars. There's the Carlin team, then there's this satellite team, Ugonia IAM, the Asian fried chicken company, sponsoring and having a really good presence and really supporting Formula 3 racing. Oh, we got one bouncing over the gravel there. That is the Van Amersfoort driver, Alessio Lorandi. He crashed out, slid out of race 1 yesterday. Got fined earlier in the weekend as well for coming off and leaving his steering wheel out of the car. Quite a hefty fine, €500. So he's had a bit of a mixed weekend so far, but he's definitely one to watch for the future. He's the Italian with the Van Amersfoort team, who of course attracted a lot of attention with their success with Verstappen. We've got some fantastic battles down the order. So many cars, they fill the entire length of the Wellington Straight here. A couple of the orange Muka Motorsport cars, they're running together. Looks like Michele Barretta. Didn't see too much of Michele yesterday. He's in the number 6 car. Just behind him is his teammate there. That is Maximilian Gunther, who went well yesterday, got himself up into the points. They're currently in about 16th and 17th places. Lucas struggled here last year. They took Lucas Auer to 4th of the championship. Lucas, their highest placed driver last year, finishing ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, the nephew of Gerhard Birkenau, moving into DTM, as is Tom Blomqvist, who finished as the runner-up in the championship last year. Esteban Ocon, the champion, moving into single-seaters into GP3. There we can see then the yellow and blue Van Amersfoort car, and we have got safety car coming out, and that's because of this stricken Lance Stroll car. So there is the Audi, which did quite a few laps yesterday, particularly in race 1. That's about as far as we've got into a race before the safety car has come out, though, so we're getting a bit better. It's to be expected almost in race 1, because it was, as I say, a damp track, dry line, but really wet off line in a couple of places, and they all had slick tyres on, and the only way to overtake is to go off the racing line. So, an unfortunate end to the weekend for Lance Stroll, who impressed yesterday with a 4th and 6th place finish. Let's see what happened. Oh, this is a replay of the start. So there to the left, Giovinazzi. Look to the yellow car number 4, the Ugonia IAM car of Menezes. Hooked it up beautifully off the start. Got up the inside of a couple, including Jake Dennis. And Menezes from 8th on the grid up into 3rd place. Fantastic start. This was further back. Some of them starting around the kink here because there are so many of them. So they have a difficult start. Probably can't even see the lights from there, really. Some difficult stuff. And then, was there contact? Maybe. Hard to tell from that angle. That was when Stroll went off, and that was a bouncy moment over the curbs and losing a couple of places. to Lorandi. And while that was happening, whizzing past him and gaining another place was Callum Ilott. So here's the order. Charles Leclerc leads, Antonio Giovinazzi second, Gustavo Meneses, the American driver, third. He was with Van Amersfoort last year, but he's moved across to Ugonia. I am with Carlin. Jake Dennis is in fourth place. George Russell is fifth. Alex Albon is sixth. Marcus Palmer seventh. Brandon Misano had a good start to yesterday's race, eighth. Then it's Sveta and Jensen ninth and 10th. Callum Ilott just outside the top 10. There's the South African, Rahul Hyman, who was a late deal, and he came very late on into the entry list here. The South African Formula 4 racer from last year. So he's either started from the pits or been into the pits, but he's had a tough weekend so far. Very, very quick circuit this, and because there's so many high-speed corners, it is difficult to get the setup absolutely right. If you're slightly out of the setup and the balance of the car, you get severely punished. Your lap time's going to be miles away, and that's what Alex Albon was saying. I made some tweaks to the setup. Suddenly, it's not just finding 1 or 2 tenths of a second, you're finding a second and a half. So from being way off the pace in testing, he suddenly got it right for qualifying and went really well in the races. And Alex doing well again in 6th place here. Son of Nigel Albon, who was a front runner in the Porsche Carrera Cup. There's your Porsche Carrera Cup. There's Lance Stroll, the Canadian, walking back to the pits, I'm afraid. Be pleased with what he's done so far this weekend, though. He's performed really well, the Canadian. So the safety car is coming in on this lap. It's Alex Albon, son of Nigel Albon, who was a front runner in Porsche Carrera Cup and also racing the British Touring Car Championship here in the mid-1990s as an independent. We got the race about to get back underway at full speed then, because the safety car has already peeled off, and Leclerc has made a decent hash of this restart. Anybody going to make a move further back down the order? What is having to defend here, including George Russell having to defend pretty fervently from Alex Albon in the black number 21 car. He can't get through. Alex has to get off the gas, and that allows number 34, Marcus Palmer, there in the white, orange and black car, one of the motor park cars, to get a little bit closer. Number 27 there is Mikkel Jensen, the Danish driver. Got in the points yesterday and is in the points at the moment, running in 10th place. So Jensen doing a decent job, looks pretty handy so far. So no real changes up inside the top 10 on that restart. Felix Rosenqvist has made progress, but not of the kind he did yesterday. He's gone from 35th to 25th. But they're all bunched up in front of him now, and this might give him a chance to pick up some more places. He said after the race yesterday, he said he absolutely murdered the tyres, but the car still had good speed. He did a phenomenal job. If you get anything out of this race, it's a bonus for him. Just about the best he could have done yesterday, that 7th place from where he was. 1 or 2 weaving in there. So Felix Rosenqvist, number 1, in the middle of the picture, in the red and white Prema car. A few positions ahead of Boccolacci, who's struggling at the moment toward the back of the field. So let's watch the progress of Flying Felix then. How can he get on there? The number 1 car making his way through the Beckett's S's. I think he's picked up 1 or 2 more places by the looks of things. Sam McLeod, who had a difficult day yesterday, is just a couple of positions behind him. The driver from Edinburgh, making his debut in the European F3 Championship, but with some previous F3 experience. There is the number 1 car then, the Italian colours, the Italian team. Number 1 on the car, not because he's the champion, but because the team were champions in both the Drivers' Championship and the Teams' Championship last year. Jake Dennis still just ahead of Albon. In fact, Albon coming after him a bit, and they've left George Russell behind. So Russell just losing track a little bit in 6th place. There's a question mark over Alex Albon's tyres as well. More about that in a moment, because here's a potential move up the inside. No, not quite. No, still having a go to the right-hander. That was Nicholas Pola. Battling just some phenomenal battles yesterday in sort of 10th, 12th, 13th place. There's a real dogfight down there, and there's not much between the lap times. So there is number 21, the Lotus Formula 1 junior driver, Alex Albon, going well here, the rookie, behind Jake Dennis and closing in on him. There is a question mark over his tyres, because he said to me yesterday he was one of only a handful of drivers who in the second qualifying session used 2 new sets. So he went out, did some laps, came in, pitted, changed tyres, went back out again. But he seems a smooth driver, seems to be looking after the tyres. It's quite abrasive, the surface here at Silverstone. Some high-speed corners, so the tyres can grain, these Hankook tyres. It's really challenging for the tyres. And certainly yesterday, in his second place finish, Charles Leclerc, who leads here at the moment, said he had some tyre graining in the second half of the race. They were at 4 or 5 laps where he was the quickest man on track. He closed to within 0.7 of a second of George Russell yesterday, but then he just fell away. And Russell was able to pull back away in the last 7 or 8 laps of the race. So we have got to be mindful of that. There is Leclerc for Van Amersfoort Racing. He's controlled things since the restart, that's for sure. Giovinazzi hanging on to him, but not really pressurising him. Meneses looking for his first podium of the season there in 3rd place. So it's the rookie that leads. Next best rookie, Albon in 5th, and Russell in 6th, his 3rd best rookie. Looking for his 3rd successive points haul. There, this is the main battle on track. Jake Dennis then, number 2, now in his 10th year of racing, having started karting when he was 9. And in cars, he raced in the Intersteps Championship in the UK, a very junior single-seater championship, which he won a few years ago. Then he went on to race in Formula Renault, finished 4th in the Renault Euro Cup in 2013, and then 9th last year. Took 3 podiums at Pau, Spa, and the Red Bull Ring at Spielberg. There's Albon then, with much less experience in these cars. Raced in Formula Renault Euro Cup and the Northern European Renault Championship in the last couple of years. Took his maiden win last year with 3rd place overall in the Euro Cup. European and British karting champion Alex Albon. Both of these two started their careers in British karting. Alex is Thai national but born in London. Teams watching on. Leclerc leading the way for Prema then. Got Sveta into the top 10 now in 9th place. Jensen 10th, Callum Eilert 11th. Santino Ferrucci's made up good progress in 12th place from what was the 18th on the grid. So the young American might have a chance of some points here. Further back, Titian Calderon was involved in an incident in race 2 yesterday and didn't finish. He's up to 20th place, started 21st. Based in the UK now, but Tatiana Calderon from Colombia, the only female in the field. Some good point scoring finishes last year, including a 5th place at Spa mid-season. So there is the race leader, number 7, Charles Leclerc, Monegasque, highly rated. As I said, Van Amersfoort were desperate to get him in the team. They knew he was going to be quick, and he has been pretty sensational. Had that coming together with George Russell in race number 1 right at the start, and dropped to dead last, had a puncture, back to the pits, and somehow got himself back up to 12th place. So he's got speed, he's got good overtaking and good racecraft as well. Here looks like there's going to be a move from Lorandi, number 8, at the end of the Wellington Straight, and gets past the Mook Motorsport driver. Beretta tries to fight back on the way though into Luffield. They go to Woodcote Corner, wheel to wheel as well, and forced out wide then is the Mook Motorsport driver, but he's keeping his foot buried here. Beretta trying to hang in, but his fellow Italian Lorandi has got the inside line for the next corner at Copse. Into the right-hander they go, and Lorandi makes it through. Fantastic racing that between the pair of them. They're not mixing it for points, but they are still battling very hard there in the midfield. So Lorandi, the 16-year-old, in his first season of car racing as well. 2nd in the WSK Champions Cup, one of the front-running international karting championships last year. A junior world champion the year before that as well. Lots of testing for him over the winter with Van Amersfoort Racing at Barcelona, here at Silverstone at the Lausis Ring. An official F3 test at Valencia in December. But lots of those tests were in the wet, so it's still learning the car. There is number 12, Pietro Fittipaldi, and pushing him hard. Somebody else who looked pretty impressive yesterday, Nabil Jeffrey, the Malaysian driver. This is the battle for 13th place. The Fortec driver, Pietro Fittipaldi, hasn't really gained anything yet. Coming up to the tail of that group is going to be Felix Rosenquist. Is it fairly soon? No, it's actually dropped back. He's down in 21st place now, so something's gone on with Felix. He's had a problem somewhere, and he's dropped back, so maybe not points today. by this point yesterday. He was up to about 13th or 14th place. Here's a tight sandwich. There is Rosenquist. So he's coming up to the tail now of Arjun Maini, the Indian driver, in the yellow and white machine there. Another of the Van Amersfoort young driver trio. And he himself is trying to gain a place to get past the Wicker Motorsport car of Max Gunther. Can he do it? Can he go on the attack? They're going to be three abreast almost, because Felix Rosenquist looks like he's got a car which is still very much underneath him. Might not quite have the tyres that he needs, but he's gone round the outside of Maini there into Luffield corner to gain a place. So Arjun Maini has to concede, and he'll have a go at Gunther now. There is the 17-year-old from Bangalore, second in the BRDC, British Racing Drivers Club Formula 4 Championship, behind George Russell last year. There we go, another place gained for Felix Rosenquist, 2 in 3 corners, and this is pretty much what he did yesterday. But he's obviously had an issue somewhere, because, or just got stuck in traffic maybe, because there are 2 or 3 laps into the restart where he didn't really make any progress. But he's starting 2 now, that's a couple of places gained. Might take it back actually, maybe he still can get in the points. There's the Vortec team here in home territory. The base not too many miles away from Silverstone. And there you got Max Gunther to the left of the picture, number 28, the orange Buka Motorsport car, sponsored by KFZ Tyler 24. Around the outside of him there goes Arjun Maini at the end of the hanger straight into Stowe corner. Terrific drive from the young Indian, who looked quick in race 1, looked like he was going to get into points until there was a coming together with Ryan Tveta, the American. So he's going well. There is some great racing here. We're just about coming up to half distance. A warning for car 21 for leaving the track with an advantage, so gaining an advantage. That's Alex Albon, who's running in the top 6 at the moment. Now we got Charles Leclerc here. Suddenly has been caught by Antonio Giovinazzi, who's put in a couple of very quick laps. Just been chipping away at 1 or 2 tenths of a second each lap. And suddenly he's right onto the tail of the race leader. So this is coming alive now. Charles Leclerc, the rookie, up against Giovinazzi, who is the highest ranked driver from last year's championship, having finished 6th in the championship. The top 5 have all moved on to other categories. As I say, a really strong end to the season last year for the Italian. They found a real problem with his chassis, which hindered him early on in the season. And once they changed that, and once he got a bit more confidence, he admitted to getting a bit more confident with the downforce of the car. So much more downforce, you carry so much more speed through the corners than with the likes of a Formula Renault car or Formula 4 car. Takes a bit of getting used to. Now here's wheel-to-wheel action. Callum Ilott there in the Red Bull livery, trying to get alongside Mikkel Janssen. Janssen got the better line through Brooklands, and the Danish driver ahead of Ilott then. That's for the final point as well, for 10th place. Here are our top 2, number 7 Leclerc and number 3 Giovinazzi. They're at 3 seconds ahead of Meneses in 4th place. There is number 1, making more progress, Felix Rosenquist. Moved ahead of Matt Solomon now, so I reckon that puts him up to 18th position. 8 more places to get another championship point here. He's unlikely to walk away as the points leader this weekend, but if he can be somewhere in the top 3 or 4, then that's certainly a much better start to the season than he had last year. Silverstone was a real struggle for Felix last year. 7th place was his best result. 9th in one of the races, 14th in the other. So he's already picked up way more points. Look at that for wheel-to-wheel action as Hong Wei Chow, the Formula 3 champion of Great Britain last year, alongside somebody he raced against last year, Sam McLeod. Sam the Castrol colours there, coming under fire now from number 32, Zi Kong Lee, who didn't finish one of the races yesterday. Zi Kong Lee in turn is coming under fire from number 14, Matt Rao, in his Vortec car, the red and white car. And Matt Rao had a difficult day yesterday as well. Didn't finish race number 1. Those 3 drivers then, all contesting British Formula 3 last year, all racing against one another. But a much tougher field, you'd argue, now in the FIA F3 Championship. It strengthened depth this year. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I think we're on for a classic year. Last year was brilliant. Many argued the best season ever of Formula 3, or one of them. This one, I think, has the potential to be even better, because there is even more depth of quality this year. So, 9 laps done. Half a second the difference between the top 2. Giovinazzi has been a bit closer than that. Here's a replay of wide run there from number 28, Max Gunther, in the Muka Motorsport car. So we've got Leclerc leading, Giovinazzi second, Menezes third, Dennis is fourth, Albon is fifth, Russell sixth, Pommer seventh, Maizano eighth, Vettel ninth, Jensen 10th, Ilott still just outside the points in 11th place, but only about 0.7 of a second behind the Danish driver. Ferrucci's 12th, Fittipaldi 13th, Jeffrin 14th, Beer 15th. As it stands, 16th is Lorandi, 17th at the moment is Rosenqvist. So he's made up half the field. He's gone from 35th to 17th. And he's still got time to get up into the points, potentially. It's going to get harder though. His tyres must have taken a bit of a pounding by now. There are our top two then. Giovinazzi, that bit of wheel banging that I mentioned at the start of race 2 yesterday between him, Leclerc and Russell, who all ran 3 abreast into the first corner at Abbey. He said in the press conference after the race yesterday, he actually carried a bit of damage to the front bodywork, which just hindered his progress a bit. So with decent tyres on for this race, it should be a little bit quicker in this one as it goes on. But Leclerc, despite his lack of experience in these cars, is controlling things from the front, just like George Russell did yesterday. It's at this point, really, that George started to come under pressure from Leclerc yesterday. It's kind of a similar situation here. There is number 35, Kang Lin, Chinese driver for Mugen Motorsport, 18, started his career in karts in Shanghai, a Hong Kong kart Grand Prix winner, first year of cars for the Chinese driver last year was in Formula 4, some Formula Renault as well, and a little bit of German Formula 3. Getting his first taste of European car racing last year. And lots of very quick young Chinese drivers coming through single-seaters at the moment. Chinese Formula 1 Grand Prix, of course, today. So there is George Russell in 6th place. His last lap was a couple of tenths quicker than Albon. That lap was a few hundreds quicker. So he is now within about 7-8 tenths of a second of Albon. This is for 5th place, it's for second best rookie. Number 10 for Carlin Motorsport, George Russell. Carlin, who got this just fantastic pedigree in single-seater racing at all levels. Trevor Carlin's team in Formula 3 in particular. They've had 270 odd race wins in all categories now. 9 British Formula 3 titles as well. And the likes of Daniel Kvyat, who've been with the team in the past. Kevin Magnussen has raced with Carlin, Nico Rosberg, Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Robert Kubica, Felipe Nasser have all come through the Carlin ranks, the British team. And good little squabble going on here a little bit further down the order. That was Sergeant Miney getting the better of number 19, Matt Solomon, the Hong Kong-based racer. And there we've got Felix Rosenqvist, number 1, in one of his favourite places, going into Copse Corner, gaining another place. That puts him ahead of Nicholas Beer in the dark blue Euro International car. And that now will promote Felix up to 15th place. So he's gained a couple more since we last saw him. It's up to 15th for him now. A little group ahead that he can catch as well. Now George Russell, having chipped away at the advantage of Alex Albon, is with him and on his tail. This is the battle for 5th place. So the signature driver, the Lotus F1 junior driver, coming under pressure now. He hasn't had too much pressure in the races so far. He's just sort of got his head down very quick and got on with his own business. He hasn't really got involved in too many scraps, but he's going to have to dig in here in the remaining laps to keep George Russell behind him. As a move from number 22, nice one at the inside from Nabil Jeffrey, but with Felix Rosenqvist coming close to him now. So Rosenqvist's, how many has he got? 1, 2, 3, all within striking distance. It still might be tough to get into the points. Jeffrey is going after, then he'll be going after Fittipaldi, and he's got so much more speed, hasn't he, Rosenqvist, at the moment. He's got a lot more experience than some of these guys around him. So the man from Malmo pushing hard. Been racing cars now since 2008 when he won the Asian Formula Renault Championship, German F3 in 2010. Last few seasons in European Formula 3. He's got alongside, he's going to try the outside line. This is going to be a bit of a tight squeeze, this one. There's contact between them. It was a brave move from Rosenqvist, but Jeffrey wasn't giving him any quarter there. and had a right to hang on to the inside line. They're not just going to give way to him because he's Felix Rosenqvist, and it didn't pay off. He wasn't quite alongside, so a little bit of contact there. And somebody else with damage is Julio Moreno, the Ecuadorian, in that white 3-bond car, number 17. Look at the front wing has taken a bit of a knock by the looks of things, so that's going to ruin his downforce. See, he'll struggle through the fast corners in particular. Is that Ranganathan, the Indian driver, he's in front of him, so obviously he did get to start. Look at that front wing, and I think there's probably a chance he's going to get black flag for that. We saw an incident like that yesterday, and the fear is that that becomes detached and comes off the car and either hits somebody or is stranded in the middle of the track. Here's this battle for 5th place, 0.3 of a second between them. Albon for the Synergy team. We didn't see too much of last year, but they're a top team, the French team. It's good to see them back. And George Russell there with Carlin. Both of them powered by Volkswagen engines, 2-litre direct fuel injection engines in Formula 3. Right about 450 brake horsepower per tonne, 240 brake horsepower in total. Very lightweight cars, and a mixture of engines. They're all on the Dallara F312 chassis, but some have Mercedes engines, some have VW engines. And Neil Brown Engineering, the British, very well-established British engine builder, provide the engines for Julio Moreno, who is there, going off the road and getting that wing damage. So that's going to slow him up, and it might send him into the pits. So there you go, the last 3 laps. Leclerc has pulled back away by about a 10th per lap from Giovinazzi. So that gap, which was, well, it was down to a couple of tenths of a second at one point, is now 0.8 of a second through the Beckett's S's. Giovinazzi, though, I think he'll be pretty satisfied if he can get 3 podiums here. Can he get another win? Can he get his 3rd win? So if Leclerc wins, it's going to be his maiden F3 win. That'll be 2 maiden F3 wins in a weekend. The other one, of course, for George Russell yesterday. And we'll have doubled the number of drivers out there that have got an F3 race win, or a European F3 race win. Just 2 at the start of the weekend. That has been changed then, the front wing for Moreno, who's 18, lives in England with the 3-bond T-Sport team. And he's raced at Formula Renault for the last couple of years. Been on the podium here in British Formula Ford at Silverstone. He finished 4th in the EcoBoost Championship in 2012. So he has some experience on the circuit. He's aiming to become the first Ecuadorian to make it to Formula 1. There's Michele Beretta at the head of this group, and there is a nice tidy move from number 20, Dorian Boccolacci. That was to get past Tatiana Calderon. There is Tatiana, the Colombian. And they are battling down in around 18th, 19th places. Motorsport keeping an eye on their drivers. Overall, it's been probably a slightly better weekend than they had here last year, better as the season went on. But a team which, the Berlin-based team, would hope to challenge for the championship. Certainly got plenty of cars out there and a very good reputation. There's another of them, number 35, Kang Ling, and there is number 12, having had a spin, Pietro Fittipaldi. What caused it, we don't know, but Fittipaldi stranded on the outside of the corner there. We're going to find out, I think, what happened. Was it self-inflicted? Yes, it was. Just lost the back end of the car. Coming into Village Corner, span around, and looks like he stalled it. 4 laps to go. Can they move him out of the way, or I'm going to see a safety car? No signs of that yet. It's a drive-through penalty actually for Moreno. Doesn't say why on the screen, but one suspects it was to do with that front wing and maybe not coming in when he was supposed to. We'll find out after the race. Now, George Russell trying to put real pressure on Alex Albon here for 5th place. George pulled off some wonderful moves into Stowe Corner yesterday in that first race when he came back through the order. Not easy to overtake when it was damp offline still. And the safety car is being deployed. It's going to be interesting. I don't think it'll take long to clear. And we should get, hopefully, a couple of laps without the safety car. So, driver's okay. It's just a fairly placid spin. But we'll see a lot more of him, I think. Pietro Fittipaldi getting into the points already this weekend. He hasn't been the star rookie, but he certainly looks like he's got a decent amount of speed. And we'll see how he gets on as the season goes on. I suppose there's an argument to say as a rookie, you've got perhaps a bit more chance of getting into points this year than you did last year, just because there are so many rookies and there are relatively few drivers with kind of winning or podium picking pedigree. But to get to the very front, I think you'd argue it's going to be tougher this year because of the strength and depth that we have. Another replay of that spin. Right across the bows of Nabil Jeffrey, who did well to avoid him, the Malaysian. Jeffrey going well in 14th place. One behind Felix Rosenqvist. Of course, that gained Felix another place, didn't it? So Rosenqvist, he's going to be one to watch here. He's 13th. He's not really interested in 13th, 12th or 11th. He wants 10th, he wants some points, or a point. And providing they get going soon, he'll have a couple of laps to try and pick up some places. This will help him out. There he is, Felix Rosenqvist. So his next target is going to be Santino Ferrucci, the young American with Muka Motorsport now, in what will be his first full season of the championship, having, as I mentioned earlier, only joined halfway through the season. He's only 16 from Woodbury in Connecticut. Got to try and fend off a driver 7 years to his senior. The recovery team, the Marshals, is ever doing an excellent job here at Silverstone, getting rid of that. It helps that it's a long lap, and it means hopefully you lose fewer laps behind the safety car, because you can back them up, give everybody time to clear the incident. And just about 2/3 of the way around the lap, you might just have time to clear that out of the way and get us going again and give us 2 racing laps. Yes, safety car in this lap. So the safety car is coming in this lap. 2 to go. You got Giovinazzi, who's going to have a go at Leclerc for the win. Menezes, Jake Dennis, we saw yesterday, is more than capable of having a go. Third and a trophy will be a lot more interesting to him than 4th. And of course we've got Rosenqvist to watch out for as well. That's Gustavo Menezes doing a decent job here this weekend. And the safety car is in. You can overtake once you get past that line in the middle of the circuit. So even though not at the start-finish line, 1 or 2 having a go here, and that's George Russell having a go at the inside of Albon, and he's done it. George Russell goes through and gains a place. He's up to 5th position. You've also got number 26, Ryan Tveter there, gaining a place a little bit further down the top 10. Leclerc leads. 2nd is Giovinazzi. 3rd then is Menezes. 4th is Dennis. Up to 5th place now is Russell. Down to 6th place. Then we have got Albon. And has Felix Rosenqvist got himself anywhere near the points yet? Can't be too far away. We'll find out shortly. Bunched up there, that little group led by number 24, Brandon Misano, the French driver. In around 8th place, they're all battling. Marcus Palmer just ahead of them in 7th position. And Rosenqvist trying to get in on the action as well. There's going to be some slipstreaming down the Wellington Straight here. Top 2 or 3 look settled, and that looks like a move from Callum Ilott, getting ahead, I think, of Mikkel Jensen. There's Callum, he's in the top 10. I think that puts him 8th. And there is Felix Rosenqvist, number 1. He's almost having to defend rather than attack at the moment, though. So you've got 2 drivers right behind him. Arjun Maini in the yellow and white Van Amersfoort car, and he's also got Lorandi, his teammate. Lorandi's having, I'd say, best race so far this weekend. Looking good, and he looks to the inside into Copse Corner here, Lorandi. Can he get through? Not quite. They're in and around 15th place. In fact, Rosenqvist dropped back. He's lost 2 or 3 places rather than going forward. So it hasn't worked out for Felix. He might not quite have the heroics of yesterday, I'm afraid. Unless he can do something spectacular and gain, I think he's going to need to gain 5 places in the last lap and a half now to get himself a championship point. A little feint up the inside there for Antonio Giovinazzi. Stays where he is. He's going to end round 1 as the championship leader. Despite not winning a race, 3 podiums out of 3 sets him up nicely. Quite likeable Italian, bit of bodywork flying off somebody's car there in the midfield. I think it might have been the Muka Motorsport car, so nothing too dramatic. But they go to the final lap of the race. Leclerc controlling things, 1st and 2nd pulling away from 3rd and 4th. George Russell pulling away from Albon now. Albon's going for another 6th place finish. Here comes Felix Rosenqvist. Running alongside again Nabil Jeffrey. Jeffrey has made him work for it a couple of times. This time he can't prevent the Swede from coming through though. And Rosenqvist does gain a place. He puts it back to 13th though, so it's taken him a lap just to get back to where he was. Still won't give in though. And Lorandi with a nice move now, taking advantage as Jeffrey is put off his stride from that Rosenquist move. So Lorandi with a good move. This young rookie, his first weekend of car racing. Difficult start to the weekend, but he's looked pretty handy in this one. Pulled off a couple of nice moves. Jeffrey is a fighter, isn't he? He's not going to give in easily. He's trying to come back around the outside into Brooklands corner. You got number 15, Nicholas Beer, not too far behind them to try and pick up the pieces. Naja Miney as well. Very likeable young Indian, having a decent run here as well. Great battle in the midfield, so that for 14th place. Already they're heading down towards Beckett's for the final time. Will be our lead group there in the gravel trap. Is number 36, Sam McLeod. Tough weekend for Sam, but we'll see more of him as the season goes on, I'm sure. Everybody's going to have a bad race, a bad weekend at some point. But here are the top two. Leclerc, look how much they've pulled away from third and fourth. They're really pushing on, aren't they? Leclerc, though, is on for his maiden win here in only his third race. Giovinazzi is pushing him hard, but running out of time now as they go into Stowe Corner for the final time. Working their way downhill into Vale and then Club Corner. Giovinazzi trying to put the pressure on, but it's all he can do to show his nose. He's not close enough to attack. They come out of Club Corner for the final time, and we are going to have a maiden victory for Charles Leclerc here in Silverstone. He clenches his fist. The Monegasque is a race winner in his first weekend of the championship. Giovinazzi second, Jake Dennis on the podium in third, got past Menezes after that restart. So on the podium twice for Jake Dennis. Menezes fourth, fifth place is Russell, sixth place Albon. Super weekend for him. Marcus Pommer was next up in seventh, Mazzano in eighth, Callum Ilott ninth, picking up some more points, and Mikkel Jensen in the points again in 10th place. 11th was Sveta, Rosenquist 12th in the end, didn't get himself, I'm afraid, any points on that occasion. So a really impressive weekend from Leclerc. That questionable incident with Russell in the first race aside, he has been incredibly quick. So Van Amersfoort win the race. There are the Prema Power team who continue to pick up some excellent results here at this circuit. They've got one on the podium in the form of Jake Dennis once again. And in about 2/3 of the races in the last 3 years, they've taken podium positions, as in 2/3 of the available podium spots. There's the sad sight of Sam McLeod's car in the gravel trap. That was at Nuffield Corner. And I think we're going to get a replay of what happened to him. Ooh, back front end of the car riding up. So it looks like the rear suspension, I think, went on it. Wasn't a driver error. Yeah, look, the right front lifted right up. So that's what sent him off. So some damage to the back of the car. Suspension, I suspect. So that's why he went off. There he is, number 7, Charles Leclerc, a race winner. Giovinazzi, though, will be the points leader. He'll add another 18 to his total, so that's going to give him 51 points. And Jake Dennis is going to get another 15 for his third. That'll give him 30 points. And Albon will be perhaps next on 28 points, I think. So it's going to be quite a comfortable lead for Giovinazzi. Some highlights then from the race. Really good start, wasn't it, from Leclerc? Made that stick beautifully. Loves the circuit, he said to me yesterday. Really enjoys the Silverstone track. And there was the early exit from Lance Stroll out of the race. It was a lively race for that man. Alessio Lorandi having a bouncy moment over the grass. He finished 14th in the end, not quite in the points. So the safety car came out early on, lap 2 I think it was, after Lance Stroll's exit. Callum Ilott here trying a move, trying to defend from Mikkel Jensen. They've gone into the points, they've both gone in the points in the end. Over the grass, over the curbs as well, and eventually through the pit lane for Julio Moreno. Number 1, Felix Rosenquist, another fine effort. You've got to say 35th to 12th isn't bad, is it? But not quite the heroics of yesterday. Didn't quite work out for him on the restart with 2 laps to go. If he'd have gained a place or 2 instead of losing a couple, I think he'd have been in the points again. A spin for Fittipaldi, tarnishing his weekend, but there is certainly some promise there. So that brought out the safety car. And then we had just 2 laps at full speed once again. And Rosenquist, that's probably why he ended up losing those places on that restart. So lost 2 or 3 places. And that hampered his progress. But Leclerc, despite plenty of pressure from Giovinazzi winning the race, coming through to pick up 3rd place late on. I mean, much better last lap than he did yesterday. Jake Dennis, so 2 podiums for him. He only had 3 before today. Now he's got 5.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and vote. And work it.
Fantastic. That's is just part of the entertainment that we have here at Silverstone. It's part of the World Endurance Championship race weekend. There are the results. 18 laps done, 0.4 of a second. The difference after the safety car was about that anyway. Giovinazzi and Dennis on the podium. Menezes coming home in 4th, Russell 5th, Albon 6th, Pommel was 7th, Misano 8th, Eilert 9th, and Jensen, the other point scorer, in 10th place. In terms of the rookies, we'll have a separate rookie podium as well. Leclerc, the winner, was the top rookie, and then in 5th and 6th, Russell and Albon will also be on the rookie podium. This sound familiar? We've had 3 races, and in 2 of them, a rookie has won. It does a bit, doesn't it? Confirmation of those that didn't finish. McLaren, Matt Rowe again, not finishing. And Stroll, of course, the first one out early on. So, an absolutely fascinating weekend of Formula 3 racing. We've heard about these drivers, we've seen them in other championships, and now we are starting to find out just how good they really are. But still some top stars from last year that will take some stopping. Jake Dennis and Felix Rosenqvist. So fairly shortly, well, we'll now see the podiums already. They're up there. And here's the national anthem for our race winner. So there we have top 3, our overall top 3. Charles Leclerc on the top step of the podium. Antonio Giovinazzi alongside him, and Jake Dennis then is next up to receive his trophy. Charles Leclerc then, fantastic stuff to take that race victory. Fair bit of pressure in the closing stages. Hankook, of course, providing all of the tyres here for the championship, as they have done for a number of years now. And there's our 3rd place trophy. More British success here in the only British round of the championship, on the podium twice for Jake Dennis. And had that win yesterday, of course, that fantastic win. Drew Furlong from the BRSCC, British Racing, the British Racing Sports Car Club, on the podium with them there. So, champagne time now for our top 3. We'll have the rookie podium in just a second as well. We move next on to Hockenheim. That'll be the opening weekend of the DTM Championship, which they run alongside much of the time. And that's on May the 2nd and May the 3rd, next event. Then in the middle of May, it's Pau in France for round 3 on the 16th and 17th. And a jam-packed month takes us to Monza on the 30th and 31st of May. So they've got 3 races in May, 3 race weekends in May. It's going to be a busy time for then heading off to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for rounds 13, 14 and 15. The Norris Ring for the street track, late June. Zandvoort in Holland in July. The Red Bull Ring in Austria is in August. At the end of August, it's the long-distance trip to Moscow. And then the Nürburgring and Hockenheim round out the season in the autumn, taking us all the way to the end of October. There's the Northamptonshire countryside. Blue skies, a little bit cloudy, quite chilly and very windy, as you can see there, as it tends to be at Silverstone. But all in all, the weather's not been too bad this weekend. It's just that little bit of rain yesterday morning, which gave us that damp, drying track for the first race yesterday, but otherwise dry. Lots and lots of fans here for the World Endurance Championship. Many of them, no doubt, will be cheering on Mark Webber who's going to be on pole position for that race. Bit of a folk hero here at Silverstone, the Australian, from his Formula One days, and victory here, of course, at Silverstone for him. So this is the rookie podium, and of course it's our race winner Charles Leclerc on the top step once again for his national anthem. So Charles Leclerc, rookie winner, overall race winner on the top step of the podium. There's George Russell's had a very satisfactory weekend, particularly yesterday's race win in second place in the rookie race. And Alex Albon, who's been absolutely brilliant this weekend. He's a real talent as well. So the trophies presented to our top three rookies. Hope you've enjoyed the action here at Silverstone. As I say, it's in about 3-4 weeks' time that we go to Hockenheim on May the 2nd and 3rd for the next rounds of the championship, rounds 4, 5 and 6. And who's going to win that one? These rookies are going to take some stopping, and the Felix Rosenqvist and Jake Dennis and Antonio Giovinazzi are going to have a real fight on their hands. It is not going to be easy, because already these rookies are strong. What are they going to be like when they get used to things in 2 or 3 rounds' time? It's time for the champagne. It's time for us to wrap up proceedings here at Silverstone. From me, Chris Hartley, and the rest of the team, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll be seeing you again at Hockenheim for that round. So 3 races, 3 different winners here at Silverstone. Felix Rosenqvist, George Russell, and now with that victory, Charles Leclerc. It's been fantastic stuff here at Silverstone. We look forward to seeing you again at Hockenheim in Germany in a few weeks' time. From me, Chris Hartley, and everybody else, thanks for watching. Bye for now.